Have you ever gotten a new model and put it aside to work on it later when you had more time? And then had another new project and put that aside? And then were working on something else, but you didn't quite finish it, so you put that aside too? Yeah, me neither. Hi everybody, I'm Joe Parker of the Pixel Depot. This channel covers model railroading, including planning, hints, tips, how-tos, and updates. Today we're going to talk about clutter. Sort of. Now, I've worked on a number of layouts in my time, and one of the things I noticed that seems to be a recurring theme on those layouts is how flat surfaces, including any part of an unfinished layout, becomes a shelf over time. For tools, materials, coffee cups, and more. Sometimes even finished layouts become a shelf for coffee cups, but that's a topic for a different video. But it's not just layouts. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This is my desk. I know this is probably a shock to you because in my videos I'm always so well put together. You know, my foot's cold. Why do I only have one sock? And how did my shirt get on inside out? Seriously though, what you're looking at here is a desk I have in the layout room. I also have another table in the layout room for projects, but that one's always perfectly clean at all times, so I'm not going to show it. It can be all too easy to take a new project and put it aside on the desk. Soon your workspace looks, well, it looks like this. But today we're going to start cleaning up the desk. Some of what needs to be done is just quick cleanup and putting things away. But there are also a number of projects here in various states of completion, so I need to understand what I actually have here. Clearly, I'm in no position to lecture you about organizational skills, so in this video I'm going to clean up the desk and then complete a project. When all is said and done, it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 projects. The first project I'm going to tackle is this small kit. This is an N scale kit, even though the layout is HO scale, and the reason for that is this is going to go in the corner in the area where the National Gypsum Plant is behind the Consolidated Coal Loop. This is a bit of a forced perspective. I've had this kit for a little while, and of course you saw that it was on the desk there. It's long past time for this one to get built. I built an HO scale version of this one a number of years ago and remembered it being not too difficult. Let's see if my memory serves me correctly. This kit is still available from GC Laser. I just double checked that online. So if you need something similar to this, you can still get it. Out the different pieces here. So this has 3 layers that we will use. Instructions and diagrams. Stickers for this area up here, although I am not 100% sure I will use those. But we'll find out. I will be using Eileen's tacky glue for an adhesive. I'm going to use my trusty sticky note palette for glue here. Let's grab my handy glue applicator, aka toothpick. So I'm just reading through the various hints and tips here. So it has a list of adhesives you can use. The Eileen's tacky glue is not on there, but it's similar to the canopy glue. I don't know how much coloring I will need to do. If I do anything, it would probably just be with the quick hit of pan pastels. And recommended tools, hobby knife and blades, adhesives, ink markers, paints, and tweezers. We got all that stuff. Construction tips here as well. So this is a diagram of the different pieces. On the back is the diagram of the instructions. Let's get to it. So the dimensions for this kit indicate that it is 3/4 of an inch deep. That is a little bit misleading in that that includes this sidewalk piece here. This is really just a flat that will go up against the side of the backdrop. Not too much in terms of depth there. So I may actually go and paint a couple of these things concrete color really quick. So I just went over to the spray booth and hit that with a very light coat of Rust-Oleum Khaki, which is the paint that I favor for concrete color. While we're waiting for that to dry, the first few steps don't require that. The first step is to glue this piece on here. So we will go ahead and do that. This shouldn't take too much in terms of needing glue. A very thin coating should suffice. So that's where the flat toothpick kind of comes in handy in terms of getting that glue on there and spreading it around in a nice thin film rather than globs. That's what you're looking for here. Get the bottoms and the tops here, just so it doesn't bow. Decent coating on there. Now we should just be able to take this and drop it on there. Straighten it out. Minor adjustments here. Grab some weights. Not that I think it'll need much. Put those on there for just a minute till it dries. I'm going to go grab that sheet that has the quote-unquote concrete pieces on it, and then we will come back and add this black backing for the windows. Back from the bench. Alright, move those out of the way. Now we're going to do essentially the same thing with this fake window glazing backing piece. Now with that on there, drop this piece on, line that up. Line that up as well. Double check and make sure that it's lined up here. You can see already looking pretty good. Drop the weights on. The last back piece here is not quite aligned. So we'll get that. Put those back on. So following our guide here, we will cut these pieces out. So this is piece number 7. For cutting the pieces out, I use a standard X-Acto type knife, using a number 11 blade for slicing and a number 17 chisel blade for cutting through the small sprues. I then use my trusty emery board, if needed, to remove any excess material. So that is the top piece, okay. So this is number 8. footing down here. Cut that out. And there we go. Now if this was going to be, if you had an N scale layout, for example, and this was going to be front and center, I would suggest coloring these a bit more, making sure that everything was knocked down. The closest anyone is going to be to this piece on my layout is about 6 feet away, so I'm not all that concerned about it. This is number 8, and that goes over here, so we are going to do a little bit more of our glue coating here, which you can actually see a little better on this particular surface because of its color. Get the top and the bottom here. Make sure we get good adhesion. Drop that on there. All right. The second one down is number 12. So we will repeat the process. The nice thing about these laser cut kits is just how easy they really are to work with. As you can see with this one, I mean, this is a pretty basic kit, but it goes together pretty quickly, pretty easily. Popped off a piece of brick there, but again, it's going to be 6 feet away from anything, so we're just going to drop a little dab of marker on there to cover that spot, and I don't think anyone's going to be the wiser. These side pieces, you got to be just a little bit more careful with the glue. Put a little bead down here, spread it just a tad so that it doesn't glob out the sides. And we should be able to put this piece on. Here. Yeah, number 10 was on the bottom. So I cut out number 9, which is the end. Got those on there. Gives it a little bit of 3D-dimensional depth, as you can see. Before I do that, I'm going to test fit this one up here. So that's going to sit on the top like that. Oh, no, like this. So that'll sit up there like that. So I'm going to build up some bits. Those will go together like that. So dab some glue on there. Trying to get it so that it's aligned properly. There we go, I think I got it. double check one thing before I actually glue this on here to make sure that I'm doing this in the right order. Just to test fit things. Yep. Alright, that was a smart move. Because that's got to go in there. So, drop that in there. Put the other one on the other side. That in there. Oh, I see. Well, I missed that step. So I'm going to go back and do that. Going back to what I mentioned before about being all put together, yeah, I forgot to put the windowsills in before I started putting the pilasters on the building. Those out. That said, I actually think it was better this way because the window material gave me a backing to make sure that all the sills were at the correct depth. I used a dry, flat toothpick to press the sills into place. I then went back and used a paint marker to color the edges of the sills, which didn't get painted originally because they were still in the carrier, a concrete color. As I'm handling this, more pieces of the brick are flecking off here. I think that's going to be okay though, especially since I'm sort of repairing them with the Sharpie markers here, because it'll give it some variation, which probably won't notice from the distance that this is going to be at. So before I go any further, let's make sure I haven't missed any other steps. Looks good so far. With the windows taken care of, I can go back to adding the details near the top of the building. For some of the details, like the ones you see here, you take the small shapes and stack them to give the impression of cast concrete. A little bit of glue keeps everything in place. There's also this very small piece that's meant to be the cap of a pilaster. Put it on the piece.
It takes a very steady hand.
Butterfingers.
So that piece is going to sit on there. Oops. Let's get it centered on that cap. There we go. And get that edge there as well. Okay. So I didn't put things on in quite the order that the instructions may have suggested, but I think we're okay. Over here. The eyelines will dry clear. So as long as you don't glob it on there, any white bits of glue that you can see after application shouldn't be a problem. Line it up at the top. All right. All I'm doing is putting a coating of the concrete paint on what will be the top edges here. And actually, I do need to do 3 sides around. The drawback to the laser cut pieces is this: when you spray paint the surface, it doesn't get to the sides until you cut them out, and that is something I have run into before with these kits. It's not the end of the world. Put a little bit of paint on, or excuse me, a little bit of glue on each one of these. Spread it out just a tad. Those on. Nice little detail bit. These all lined up here so that they're at the bottom. Glue the top bit on. So that'll sit up there quite nicely. That one edge doesn't have much glue on it, so go in there like that. There we go. One of the last steps is to put those stickers on. These stickers here. It says Lindsay Brothers and has 1892 on it. I'm not going to worry about that. May go back later and put something on that looks a little bit more concrete-ish. Get the sidewalk bit. There we go. Bit. Slide that on there. Use my weights here to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. I've given that some time to dry, so I think it'll be in a reasonable shape. I do want to touch up some of these spots. As I mentioned, there's a few more that have appeared here, and I'm gonna, with some more bricky colored spots here, just for some variety. I'm actually going to just hit some other random spots in here just to break it up just a little bit. And with that, I'm going to call this done. And now it's time to put it into place on the layout. This is the area where this is going to live. There's still some work to be done in this area. I want to put a photo down here that shows a road, just so that it doesn't look quite so sparse. There will be a fence and some bushes and so on here to try and make the transition between the... That's supposed to go over there. Make the transition between the track and what is supposed to be distant. But the new building that we just did is going to go here. I did paint this side. I should show you that. I did paint this side with markers and the concrete paint. It looked like this. It was just plain before, so I didn't think that was going to look very good. So we ended up going with this. Put it over here, and I think that will work out. I may play with the placement here and there and move it around just to see, but I think this is going to work out pretty well. So not only is the desk a little bit cleaner just from tidying up, I was also able to take care of a project that's been sitting around for quite a long time. Here are some before and after shots of the area behind the consolidated coal loop on my Monument City Terminal Division layout. As I mentioned, I think it's going to work fine and add some more perspective to the area once everything's all finished. So that's all for this episode. The work on these projects will continue, and you'll see videos pop up here on the channel from time to time to keep you up to date on how things are going. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you'll be the first to know when those videos go live. If you also click the like button, that would be lovely. You can check out the links in the description to learn about supporting the channel on Patreon, as well as great Pixel Depot themed shirts and other merchandise. If you want to see more, you can access more great videos by clicking the links to my right, your left. I'm Joe Parker of the Pixel Depot. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll meet me next time in the train room.